Heavenly Father, Monday is finally over, and I come to you tonight simply grateful that this particular day, often the heaviest one of the week, has reached its end. Whatever today held, whatever went well and whatever didn't, I bring all of it to you now, ready to set it down before I sleep. Thank you for carrying me through today. Thank you for the strength that got me from this morning's first moments to this quiet one tonight, even on the hours I didn't feel especially strong. Thank you for whatever went right today, even the small things I might have rushed past without noticing. A task that resolved easily, a conversation that went better than expected, a moment of unexpected kindness from someone I encountered along the way. None of it was owed to me, and none of it went unnoticed by you. Even in the moments it went unnoticed by me. I praise you because you were present in every single hour of today, whether I remembered to acknowledge you or not. From this morning's prayer to this evening's, you didn't step away in the busy hours between. You were there in the meetings, the tasks, the traffic, the ordinary friction of an ordinary Monday, sustaining me in ways I likely didn't fully notice while I was living through them. That kind of quiet, unnoticed faithfulness is, in some ways, the most remarkable kind, because it asks for no recognition and simply keeps showing up regardless. I think about how Monday carries a certain reputation, a weight before it even begins, and how easy it is to let that reputation shape the whole day into something heavier than it actually needed to be. Whatever today genuinely held, hard or easy, I don't want to let a cultural script about Mondays add extra weight to how I remember it tonight. I want to see today, honestly, for what it actually was, not for what I expected it to be before it even started, and not for what I'll assume next Monday will be simply because this one felt a certain way. Your mercies were new again this morning, and I trust that they remained new through every hour since. Even the ones that felt difficult, whatever mistakes I made today, whatever moments I wish had gone differently, your grace toward me did not run dry somewhere around midday. It has carried all the way to this exact moment, and I receive it now with real gratitude. I think back through today, briefly, not to relive it in exhausting detail, but to notice your hand in it before I let it go completely. There were moments I might have missed while I was moving too fast to register them. A small provision, an unexpected ease, a conversation that mattered more than I realized at the time. I don't want tonight to pass without at least trying to notice what I might have rushed past during the busy hours. I also want to acknowledge honestly that some parts of today were simply hard, and I don't need to spiritualize that away or pretend it was easier than it actually was. You're not asking me to perform gratitude over genuine difficulty. You are simply inviting me to bring both the hard parts and the good parts honestly before you, trusting that you can hold the whole truth of today without needing me to edit it into something more palatable. Thank you, too, for simply making it to this moment, for the fact that whatever today required of me, I am here now, at its end, still standing, still able to pray, still held by you, regardless of how the day actually unfolded. That itself is not nothing. That is, in its own quiet way, evidence of your faithfulness carrying me through one more ordinary, demanding day. Before I rest, Lord, I want to be honest about how today actually went. Not the version of it I might present to someone else, but the real one. I confess the moments I let stress get the better of me, the sharpness in my voice, the impatience with people who didn't deserve it, the times I let frustration lead instead of grace. I don't want to carry the weight of these moments into sleep tonight, so I bring them honestly to you now. I confess the anxious energy I carried through parts of today, the moments I white-knuckled my way through tasks instead of trusting you with them, the ways I sometimes forgot entirely that you were present in the middle of an ordinary workday. I confess the comparisons I made, the moments I measured my day against some imagined easier version of it that other people seem to be having, and let that comparison steal whatever contentment I could have had instead. I confess, too, the ways I may have neglected you today, even in small ways, the prayers I meant to pray and didn't, the moments I could have paused to acknowledge your presence but let slip by because the day's momentum felt too strong to interrupt. I don't say this with heavy guilt, but with honesty, because I want tonight's rest to be built on truth, rather than a performance of a day that went more smoothly than it did. Thank you that your forgiveness doesn't depend on how well today actually went. Thank you that grace was never a reward for a good day, but a gift extended regardless of how the day unfolded. I release the specific failures of today into your hands now, trusting that you are faithful and just to forgive me and cleanse me from all of it, the way you have always promised. I surrender today completely, Father. Its successes and its shortcomings, its smooth stretches and its hard patches. Not my will, but yours be done over everything this Monday held, now that it belongs entirely to the past. I confess, too, that I sometimes carry today's frustrations home with me in a way that affects people who had nothing to do with causing them. Snapping at someone I love because of stress that actually belongs to a completely different part of my day. Forgive me for letting today's difficulty leak into relationships that deserved better from me. Help me learn, over time, how to set that weight down before I bring it through my own front door, so the people who love me most don't end up absorbing the overflow of a hard day that was never actually theirs to carry. I confess the specific ways I doubted myself today, moments I questioned whether I was doing enough, being enough, keeping up with expectations that may have been entirely self-imposed, rather than actually required of me. I don't want to end today still carrying that self-doubt into sleep. Speak your truth over it instead, Lord, reminding me that my worth was never actually tied to how flawlessly I performed today, and was never going to be, no matter how today had actually gone. I confess, too, the moments I compared today's difficulty to how easy other people's lives appear from the outside, forgetting that I am seeing only their highlight reel, not the full and complicated truth of what they're actually carrying. That comparison never once made my day genuinely easier. It only made me resent the one I was actually given to live. Now, Lord, I ask you to help me actually rest, to release the tension this particular day tends to carry even after it's technically over. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, you have said, and I will give you rest. I come to you exactly like that tonight, weary from the first full day of a new week, ready to receive rest instead of carrying tomorrow's dread into tonight's sleep. Quiet my mind from replaying today's harder moments. I don't need to relive that difficult conversation one more time, or keep rehearsing what I should have said differently in that meeting. I bring it all to you now, and I ask you to let it actually rest instead of looping endlessly through my thoughts as I try to fall asleep. You will keep in perfect peace the one whose mind is fixed on you, because that mind trusts in you. So I fix my mind on you tonight, deliberately letting today's noise settle instead of following it into another hour of turning things over that I cannot change anymore anyway. Today is finished. What's done is done. And what wasn't finished can wait until tomorrow, without my mental rehearsal accomplishing anything more tonight. I receive your peace now, not because today was flawless, but because peace was never actually tied to a perfect day in the first place. It is tied to you, and you remain exactly as trustworthy tonight as you were this morning, regardless of how the hours in between actually unfolded. I think about how much of tonight's tension is really just today's momentum still running, my body and mind not yet aware that the demands of the day have actually stopped. Help me actually land, Lord, rather than simply lying down while my nervous system keeps behaving as though there's still somewhere urgent to be. Let my body catch up to the truth that today is over, that there is nothing left tonight requiring my vigilance, that it is genuinely safe to let go completely. Let sleep come easily tonight, deep and genuinely restorative, not the shallow kind where I toss between half-formed thoughts about tomorrow's tasks. You give sleep to those you love, not as something I have to earn through a productive day, but as a gift freely offered regardless of how today actually went. I receive that gift now. If my mind tries to return to today's stress once more before I fall asleep, meet me there gently and redirect my thoughts back to you rather than letting me spiral through the same worries one more time. I don't need tonight's rest to be perfect either. I simply need it to be real, even if it takes me a few tries to actually settle. I ask, too, that you would use tonight's sleep to genuinely restore what today wore down. Not just my body, but the parts of me that felt stretched thin by stress, by decisions, by the accumulated weight of being fully present through an entire demanding day. Let me wake tomorrow with something more than just a body that got some sleep. Let me wake with a heart that feels genuinely lighter than it does right now, ready to meet Tuesday as its own day, rather than as a continuation of whatever weight Monday happened to carry. Father, I think about how Monday specifically seems to carry more emotional weight than other days, at least for me. And I want to bring that honestly before you, rather than just push through it unexamined. Maybe it's the abruptness of the transition from rest back into full demand. Maybe it's simply the accumulated dread that builds up over a slower weekend. Whatever the reason, I don't want to just white-knuckle through Mondays indefinitely without ever asking you to help me actually understand and address what makes them heavier. Show me, gently, if there's something practical I could adjust. How I transition from weekend to work week. How I prepare the night before. How I pace the first hours of a Monday. I don't want to just endure this pattern forever. If there's a wiser way to walk through it that you want to show me, I think about how much of Monday's heaviness might actually be anticipation rather than the day itself. The dread I build up on Sunday night, sometimes turning out to be worse than whatever Monday actually delivers once it arrives. If that was true again today, help me remember it the next time Sunday evening comes around, so the anticipation doesn't keep outweighing the reality. And if today genuinely was as hard as I feared it might be, help me not to let that confirm some larger belief that every Monday is destined to be difficult, because that kind of belief tends to become a little bit self-fulfilling over time. But even more than practical adjustment, I want a deeper trust that doesn't depend on Mondays becoming easier. Whether or not the external pattern changes, I want my internal posture toward the start of each week to become steadier, less braced, less anxious in anticipation, more genuinely rooted in you, regardless of which day of the week it happens to be. I think about how today is now finished, and how that alone is worth something. I made it through. Whatever was hard about it is now behind me, not ahead of me anymore. Tomorrow is a different day, with its own mercies, its own challenges, its own opportunities, not simply an extension of today's weight. I don't have to assume tomorrow will feel exactly like today did, because you have never once promised that hard days simply compound indefinitely without relief. I want to think honestly, Lord, about the specific shape of today's difficulty, if it was genuinely difficult, rather than just labeling the whole day hard in a vague, unexamined way. Was it a particular conversation? A specific task that dragged longer than expected? A feeling more than an event? A low mood I carried regardless of what actually happened around me? Naming it more specifically helps me actually process it, rather than just accumulating a general sense of Monday dread that grows heavier every week without ever being examined. I also want to consider whether some of today's weight came from expectations I placed on myself, rather than anything genuinely required of me. Did I demand more from today than was reasonable? Did I measure my worth by an unrealistic standard of productivity or performance? If so, help me recalibrate, not by lowering genuine standards, but by releasing the ones that were never actually yours for me in the first place. I bring you to the specific relationships that felt strained today, if any did. Whether it was a coworker, a family member, or simply an interaction with a stranger that left me unsettled, I ask for your help, processing it honestly, rather than either dismissing it entirely or letting it fester into something larger than it needs to be. Give me clarity about what, if anything, needs to be addressed tomorrow, and peace about what can simply be released tonight. Lord, I want to notice, even briefly, what actually went well today before I let myself fall asleep. Even on a hard Monday, there were likely moments of genuine goodness I might have rushed past. A task completed, a conversation that mattered, a small kindness given or received. Help me end today with gratitude for those moments, rather than only remembering the friction. I think about the people who made today lighter, even in small ways. A colleague's encouragement, a stranger's patience, a friend's text that arrived at exactly the right moment. Thank you for placing those people in my path today, whether I fully appreciated them in the moment or only recognize their impact now, looking back. I think, too, about the parts of today that were simply ordinary, neither hard nor remarkable. The quiet, unremarkable stretches that make up most of any given day. I don't want to only measure today by its hardest or best moments. I want to include the whole of it, ordinary as much as anything else, in my gratitude tonight. most of any day, if I'm honest, is made of these unremarkable hours rather than dramatic ones. And I don't want to keep treating them as though they don't count, simply because nothing notable happened in them. A day well lived isn't necessarily one filled with highlights. It can just as easily be one where the ordinary hours were met with quiet faithfulness, one small task, and one small moment at a time. I ask for your help, carrying forward whatever today taught me, if anything, into the rest of this week. If there's a lesson in how I handled something difficult, or a pattern worth adjusting, show it to me gently, not as condemnation, but as genuine growth. I don't want today to have passed without meaning anything beyond simply being survived. I think, too, about the specific mercies I might have missed while I was moving too quickly to notice them, a problem that resolved itself without my having to force it, a moment of unexpected ease in a task I dreaded, a small provision that arrived exactly when I needed it. These things happen more often than I usually acknowledge, and tonight I want to actually count them rather than letting them pass by unnamed. I'm grateful for the ordinary rhythms that carried me through today, a body that functioned well enough to do what was asked of it, a mind that, even under pressure, still found its way through decisions and tasks, meals that nourished me without my having to think too hard about where they came from. These aren't small things, even though most days I treat them as background noise rather than genuine gifts. I'm grateful too, simply for having made it to this quiet moment tonight, for the fact that no matter how today unfolded, it did eventually end. And I am here now, safe, able to rest, able to bring the whole of it honestly before you. That itself is worth real thanks, even on the days that felt hardest to get through. Before I close, Father, I bring before you everyone else who found today difficult, for whatever reason. I think of those whose Mondays hold more genuine hardship than mine, difficult diagnoses received today, hard conversations that didn't go well, losses that don't pause simply because it's the start of a new week. Be their comfort tonight in a way that exceeds anything I could offer through this prayer. I lift up those who are exhausted tonight, not from an unusually hard day, but from the ongoing weight of a hard season that doesn't lift regardless of which day of the week it is. Give them rest where they can find it, and strength for whatever tomorrow requires of them too, even when tomorrow looks likely to bring more of the same difficulty they are already so tired of carrying. I pray for those who dread every Monday, specifically because of genuinely difficult work environments, unsustainable pressure, or situations they feel trapped in. Be especially near to them tonight. Give them wisdom for whatever steps might be theirs to take, and peace in the meantime while those steps aren't yet possible. And let them know they are not simply imagining how hard their circumstances actually are. And I pray for anyone who is simply tired tonight. In the ordinary, unremarkable way, most people are tired at the end of a long Monday. Not from crisis, just from the accumulated weight of an ordinary demanding day. Give them the same rest I am asking for myself, and let this night be genuinely restorative for all of us heading into the rest of this week. I think of parents tonight who are only now, after children are finally asleep, getting a first quiet moment of their own since early this morning. Give them rest that actually restores, however brief the window they have to receive it. I think of those working overnight shifts tonight, whose end of Monday looks nothing like mine, still hours from any rest at all. Give them strength for what remains of their night, and rest whenever they finally reach it. I pray for those who ended today in conflict with someone they love. Words exchanged that neither person meant quite the way they came out. Tension still unresolved as the day closes. Give them the courage to reach out for reconciliation tomorrow, rather than letting the distance harden overnight. And peace tonight, even in the midst of what's still unsettled. I pray for those who started a new job, a new role, or a new routine today, uncertain and a little overwhelmed after their first day in something unfamiliar. Give them confidence for tomorrow, and the sense that today's uncertainty is simply part of adjusting, not a sign that they don't belong where they've landed. I pray, too, for those whose today held genuine loss or disappointment, a decision that didn't go their way, news they weren't hoping for, a hope that didn't materialize the way they wanted. Be their comfort tonight, and give them enough peace to actually sleep despite the weight of what they're carrying. I also pray for those who did nothing dramatically wrong today, and nothing especially difficult happened to them either, but who still find themselves tonight feeling strangely heavy without a clear reason why. Some days are simply hard to name, hard to point to a single cause for. Meet them in that unnamed heaviness too, Lord, even when they can't fully explain it themselves. As I come to the end of this prayer, Father, I want to fully release today and receive tonight's rest without reservation. Today is complete. Whatever it held, I have brought it honestly before you, and I trust you to hold what I cannot keep carrying any longer tonight. Thank you for walking through today with me, from its first moment to this last one. Thank you for not requiring today to have gone perfectly in order for you to remain present in it. Thank you for meeting me here, tired and honest, and receiving both my gratitude and my confession with the same steady welcome. Into your hands, I commit my spirit tonight. Watch over me as I sleep. Let this rest be genuine, not just a pause before tomorrow's demands begin again, but real restoration that carries me into the rest of this week with steadiness rather than dread. I don't know exactly what tomorrow will require of me, but I know it won't require anything you and I can't handle together. The same way today didn't, even in its harder moments. Whatever pattern this week settles into, whatever rhythm Tuesday and the days after it bring, I trust that your presence will remain as constant as it has been since this morning, unchanged by how difficult or how easy any single day turns out to be, and unaffected by whatever mood I happen to carry into it. I let go now, fully, of whatever I was still holding on to from today. The tension, the replaying, the low hum of stress that sometimes lingers well past the actual demands that caused it. I release all of it into your hands one final time before I sleep. Today has done what it was going to do. It cannot ask anything more of me tonight. That belongs to tomorrow, and tomorrow can wait until it actually arrives. One day of this week is behind me now. 6 remain, each one carrying its own portion of grace, its own measure of strength, its own opportunity to walk a little closer to you than the day before. I don't need to have this whole week figured out tonight. I simply need to trust that the same faithfulness that carried me through today will still be there, waiting for me tomorrow morning, fresh, unhurried, and completely sufficient for whatever comes next. Thank you for your presence today. Thank you for your peace tonight. Thank you for already being present in tomorrow before I've even had the chance to worry about it. In Jesus' name, amen.